A question I get asked all the time is, when does the healing process start and when does the healing process end? And I absolutely love this question, and I'm so glad that we're going to talk about it today. But before we do that, I'd love to ask you to subscribe to the channel and like this video, because honestly it really helps the content get out to more people in the world, and I think that this topic is so important for people to hear and understand. So let's dive in and talk about this topic of healing. Now, if you don't know already, I run the Diary of Discovery podcast, and we get guests on to talk about their healing journeys. And it's so interesting because every time that we have a guest on, and I've recorded, I don't know, like 30 episodes at this point. So every time that we have a guest on, I always ask them, when was the moment that they realized that they needed to start healing? When was the moment that they realized something had to change? And something that's really, really important to understand is healing is always a conscious choice. Okay, so people draw a line in the sand and they say, I'm done with that and now I'm gonna work towards something different. That is the conscious choice of the line of healing starting. But that line doesn't happen at the point that trauma happens. It's not oh, this bad thing happens and then I instantly am I'm gonna heal this. This is not okay. Normally it takes a bit of time, time passes, and in that time we will feel a range of things. We might feel angry, we might feel guilty, we might feel shameful, we might feel it's not a big deal, nothing really bad's happened, who are we to take all the attention? There's loads of things that you could feel in this process, there's loads of things. But actually, when it comes to healing, there's a moment where you suddenly realize and you suddenly think to yourself, this is not okay anymore. The life that I'm living, the person that I'm being, the way that I'm showing up is not okay anymore. The way that I'm feeling is not okay anymore. The way that people are treating me is not okay anymore. And that is the kind of point where healing starts. Yeah, you've made a conscious decision that something needs to change, and that is the first step. Now, I would love to tell you that healing is this beautiful linear path. You do these 5 things and you get to the end and you're all healed and it's magical. But realistically, that's not how it works. Healing doesn't work like that. So what you'll find is as you go through healing, you are just making a decision to look at your emotions. You're making a decision to feel what you're feeling. You're making a decision to talk about what's happened and to process through what's happened. But more importantly, you're making a decision that something has to change and you can't carry on the way that you are now. So when you make that decision, you're consciously telling yourself, the belief is different now. The belief is different now. We're no longer in this mindset, we're in this mindset. And that's an incredible shift. And for some people that can be instantaneous. They can literally be no more, no more, this is it. And for other people it could be, oh, I don't think I like this, maybe I do, maybe I don't, I'm gonna dabble a little bit, I'm gonna dip my toes, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna go back. Whatever it looks like for you is perfectly fine. But when we think about healing and we think about the journey of healing, there's no defined end point. And there's multiple ways to look at this, but I think the key thing is your intention behind healing. So I never heal from a place of I'm broken. I never heal from a place of there's something wrong with me that I need to fix. I heal from a place of there is a untapped part of me that is hiding inside that I just need to lovingly uncover, that I need to lovingly bring back to the world and come closer and closer and closer to my own truth. It's a very different intention than this idea of, oh, there's something wrong with me that I need to fix. That's not what we're doing when it comes to healing. And if we go through this process and we think about it and we think about healing from this view of nothing needs to fix, nothing needs to, nothing's broken and nothing needs to be fixed, suddenly it becomes a much more pleasant journey to go on, because if nothing is broken and you're just unveiling like the truest version of yourself, then your life can carry on being amazing, being fulfilling, being huge, without you having to wait for the healing to happen. And I think that this is so important. I hear so many people say to me, who are really kind of early on in their journey, oh yeah, like I'll start my business once I've done my own healing, or I'll put out that post once I've done my own like healing, or I'll write that book, or I'll come on the podcast, or I'll do whatever I'm going to do, but only once I've like ticked the box to say I've done the thing. And it just doesn't work like that. Like, if I had to sit around and say, oh, I'll wait for my healing journey to be done before I'm allowed to be successful, I would never be successful, because I always have another layer, another belief, another lens, another like worldview that needs to be shifted, that needs to be cleared, that needs to be cleansed. So if I waited until everything aligned before I was allowed to be successful, I would never ever have the success that I wanted. So I want you to think about healing more as like an alongside life, rather than a becoming your whole life, because that's also not what it's supposed to be. We are here to live life. We are here to experience a full and joyful and wonderful life. And if we spend all of our time healing, or even worse, all of our time hiding from what we need to heal and not feeling the things that we need to feel, we're going to live a really small and sheltered and sad life. Versus if we can say, I get to live this fullest, hugest, most magnificent expression while healing, while going through the messy, while going through the hard, while going through the things that feel impossible, while having, the breakdown where I'm crying and I'm like sobbing my eyes out and I don't know what to do with myself. And then 2 hours later, I'm showing up online like an absolute badass, telling women how to start their businesses. I can be both of those people. I can exist in both of those spaces. I don't have to have everything worked out in my whole life in order to do what I do and do it well. And this is something that is so important for people to understand. There will always be people further on the journey. There will always be people behind you on the journey. There will always be people who are parallel but going in different directions. Like, every single person has their own soul purpose of being here. And you've got to understand that your soul purpose has nothing to do with what everyone else is doing. Your healing has nothing to do with what everyone else is doing. The truest version of yourself doesn't wait for somebody else in order for it to be itself. It exists, and everyone else around it then has their own permission to live their truest expression. But this is something that we have to get lined up with. We have to get comfortable with. And we have to be able to sit back and say, I'm not going to wait until I've fixed myself for my life to start. Because that's not how it works. Now, as you go through each individual thing, like, you could come to a clean close of a healing journey. So if I take my journey with depression, I started my journey, got depression really, really badly. Depression. Do I have bad days? Of course I do. Do I have negative thoughts? Of course I do. But I no longer attach a bad day or a negative thought to the fact that I am depressed. I no longer make that leap. And I came to a clean close with that healing journey. When it comes to beliefs, you level up in your beliefs. So you might have not believed something was possible for you. Then you start to take action, do things, build up your beliefs, and then you get the result. And then you go, oh my gosh, this is possible for me. and then you stretch your beliefs a little bit more, and then you fight up to that next level, and you keep going, and then you reach it, and then you keep going. Like, so there's like this level up in your beliefs where you might not ever be done completely with the belief work, but each level of belief is done at some point. Like, you've done it, you've believed the thing, it's now become your reality, it's now become second nature to you, and it just is what it is. And then there is healing work that might take a little bit longer, that might take less of a direct, clean path, and normally that has to do with how we actually see ourselves, our imposter syndrome, our fear, our existence, because it's not as simple to just say, oh, I'm just not going to feel that anymore. There's a little bit more work to do around stuff like that. We actually have to uncover more about ourselves as we go on those journeys. And it's a growth journey, like it's an incredible journey that you get to go on, but we can't just say, oh, this doesn't exist and I'm just going to be fine with it. Like, it's not a hard kind of push through. It's something that you have to work with. So when we go on this journey and we go through this healing process, like, you have to remember that you can have everything now and still heal. You can be a broken, messy, crazy, like, person with everything falling apart in one aspect of your life and still have everything in abundance in every other area of your life. We don't have to make one area mean that all of the other areas have to be the same. We don't have to say, oh, because I can't do this one thing, it means that I can't run a business, or I can't be a good mom, or I can't be a good friend, or I can't be a good daughter, or, you know, I can't be, like, present in my marriage or my partnership. Like, you don't have to make one thing mean anything about anything else. And I think that that is something that's so important as you go on this healing journey. Healing doesn't have a defined start point or a defined end point, or, you know, a clear cut, like, this is the exact moment it happens. But it does have a pathway. It does have you making conscious decisions, you challenging your own beliefs, you looking at the way you show up, you looking at what's acceptable for yourself, you saying, this is not acceptable anymore, and I want this outcome or something better. I want this goal or something better. I want to always leave room for something better. And that, like, it shifts so much in how you show up. It shifts so much in what it means to heal, what it means to go on this journey. Because if you are constantly growing into the future version of yourself, your life and future can be infinitely good. But if you stay the exact same version of yourself that you are now, if you have no goals, no desires, nothing to move towards, then nothing will change, nothing will be succeeded, and you will never grow and heal and come through these beliefs to become a better version of yourself, to become the most true version of yourself, and live out your life purpose. Like, that's what we're here for. We're not here to float along or to be silent. We've all been here, like, put here for a reason, and you just need to find yours and unlock it. And once you do that, this crazy, beautiful, endless healing journey starts, and it's literally incredible. Like, I wouldn't want anybody to go through life and not experience this. I wouldn't want anybody to never tap into this infinite possibility of the wonders of the person that you can be. So if you haven't yet, this is your literal, like, flag, your sign, your vision, your, like, pathway to say, start working on yourself today. Start creating a vision for your life. Start looking at what you don't want to accept in your life anymore. Start looking at what you need to heal in order to become the truest, most incredible version of yourself. Because I promise you, it is so friggin' worth it. Okay, we are gonna leave it there. We are gonna wrap up for the day. I could talk about this topic literally for days. If you want to know more about healing journeys, come over and listen to the podcast. It is incredible. The guests are absolutely insane. Honestly, it's so good. So come over and listen to the podcast. It will be so worth it. And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you like this video. Even comment on it if you want to. It really, really helps get the video out, seen by so many more people, which is exactly what we want. We want this content everywhere in the world. And I will see you guys next week, where we're going to be talking about how you hit consistent 2K months versus how you hit your first 2K month, and the strategies and why they're different. So I'll see you guys then.